know the person behind the keyboard. So grab your popcorn, get those fiery trash emojis ready, and enjoy the show. This is your Doom Squad brand ambassador Spring, and you know the motto, let the good times roll.
Man, what's shaking, people? We don't got to do all of the extra intro stuff. Y'all know how this goes. Y'all know what this is. Welcome to No Cap Conversation. I am your host, Doom Killer HD. Sit back and relax. You are now rocking with the best. New podcast, new format, same old bull-ish. Y'all know how this goes. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight. We have a very, very special guest, the first guest of the first episode of No Cap Conversations. Please hit that like button for your homeboy, Mr. Miller Ross. Welcome to the show, sir.
Oh, hey.
You over here shooting some hoops, bro?
Yeah. I was practicing my dunk.
Nice, man. So how are you doing tonight, good sir?
I'm pretty good. I'm relaxing, just doing the usual Miller thing.
All right.
I had like one day off work for this, which is very exciting. I got to sleep in. Oh,
bro,
it's gonna be a crazy week next week too. So I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, I was about to say you better get your relaxed time in now, because I know come Tuesday, then Thursday, your week is pretty much shot. So,
Oh yeah.
All right. Let's just go ahead and jump right on into it. I don't want to hold you up for too long. This podcast should not take forever in a day like the other podcast. So let's get right on into it. The first question is just a simple question for the people out in the audience who may not know, who may live under a rock. Just tell us, who is Miller Ross, bro?
Well, I'm not usually proper. I'm just a guy. I don't know. I started a couple years ago data mining Marvel's Avengers, and that turned into Twitch streaming and YouTube and podcasts and Twitter and journalism and a million different things. It's been a wild couple years.
For real.
Yeah, right now I'm just reporting on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and I'm prepping for like a couple different games, trying to, set up my next move. But yeah, right now I'm the Suicide Squad guy. Hello.
Well, speaking of data mining, how did you actually get into data mining? I guess it's a two-part question. What made you want to dig into video games the way you do? And how did you actually get started in doing so?
Well, the thing that made me want to start was that there was a lot of like lies out there, and there was a lot of misunderstandings too. I didn't feel like anyone was enough of like an empirical source, at least in Marvel's Avengers. Like there's I'm trying to remember their names, but like the Fortnite leakers, they're all huge, and they're pretty empirical. You go to them with a question, or they're always on the news. Like they've got it on lock. But on most games, or at least most live service games, it's just a lot of rumor. Like somebody says something and then it gets repeated somewhere, and everybody's anonymous. And so it just sort of gets like this broken telephone game. And it was frustrating to me because I was data mining Marvel's Avengers on my own. And I knew like so much of what was floating around was lies or like misunderstandings in many cases. And so it was just really a desire for me to correct the record, because I wanted to be involved in the community and in the conversation. But I found myself like correcting people, you know what I mean? Like, actually, no, that's not true. Actually, that's not quite it. And doing that gets you attention. And that's kind of how it started, really. I mean, I really didn't go into it thinking like, here's me, and like my big debut and whatever. Like, it really wasn't like that. Like, I just had like a Twitter account. And it was funny too, because the first couple of people that cited me like had no clue how, like, it was just like Twitter user Miller, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, what? But yeah, that was how it started. And I mean, now I guess it's still kind of the same, honestly. Like, there's still a lot of misinformation floating around.
That there is. We kind of discussed that earlier today. A friend of mine that. Anyways, I don't want to get into what I was discussing. Let's just keep this going because you seem like you're in a talkative, good mood, and I like that. So I'm gonna ask you the tough questions. Like, what's the biggest risk that you personally take when you're data mining, bro? Let's go.
I guess like I do open myself up to like legal backlash. I know Square Enix was pretty chill for the most part. Um, I know people at Square Enix had like told me different things about how there's like a dossier on me and stuff, and like they've like sort of done their research, right? But they weren't doing anything. They just wanted to be prepared in the event that they decided they wanted to. Um, but when it comes to Suicide Squad, WB Games is a whole different animal. Like
Yeah,
I I genuinely could see them like going the cease and desist route. You know what I mean? And there would be very little that I could do because data mining is legal, but distributing what you data mine is not. And I mean, talking in Canada, I don't think it is legal in America technically.
right,
Like, what is it like? Like DRM circumvention technically, which is like illegal under the DMCA. But I'm in Canada, so that doesn't affect me. I in Canada it is legal, but again, distributing it is not.
right.
Talking about it is, but social media right now is such a beast. Like, if you look at like even big accounts like Pop Base and like Pop Tings and stuff like them, they like have burner accounts to upload their media because they get DMCA'd so much. Like, no one respects copyright today. No one in the digital space.
Right.
So, I mean, I feel like they've got bigger fish to fry, frankly. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It depends. There's always something going on. But yeah, I've gotten like probably 20 DMCA claims from them like in the last couple months.
Holy crap. That actually leads into my next question. Have you actually ever been legally reprimanded for the things that you do, and uncovered and released to the public?
Um, no, no one's ever, and I mean, I make no, um, like I'm not, I mean, ironically, because here I am as Parappa, but I've like been very upfront about like my literal legal name is Miller Ross.
Mhm.
Like I'm not hiding, you know what I mean? So I feel like if anybody really wanted to, they could. Ironically, there's been like 2 DMCA claims that I've gotten on Twitter that I actually have fought. And the DMCA claim counterclaim process is like you give them your full name and address basically, and
Oh,
it's like sue me. And if you decide not to sue me, then the platform reinstates the content, right? Because obviously they've decided not to.
wow.
Um,
That's
and so
scary,
there's 2
actually.
that I have because I was very confident in like, no, I have the right to publish that.
Okay.
Um, but no, yeah, no, they never bit. It was the same company too. It's like this digital rights management company. I think they're based out of like Germany or something. But
Hmm.
I've been in a silent fight against animals like that for a long time,
Wow.
you know?
I
And
know.
so yeah, that's the closest I've ever come, I think. But,
That's
tomorrow's
scary,
always a
bro.
new day.
God
I'm not
damn, that's
honestly too like there was a time when Avengers was like really at its peak. God, I wish they sued me. Like that would have been such good press. Like I'm I don't think that they'd be trying to get blood from a stone, first of all. So like I don't think there's much for them to win. But even then too, like a data mining case has never really been taken to trial. So I think, like digital rights legal groups, I think have been curious for a long time about how something like that would actually play out in the courts.
Hmm.
So I could probably find representation
Pretty
pretty
easily, I
cheap.
bet. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it'd be good press. Like I
My
remember when a data miner got banned from Final Fantasy 14, which was funny too because they actually banned the wrong person, but that's a whole different story. Yeah, they knew the guy's name, but there was someone else that was using that name in Final Fantasy, so they banned the wrong person. But anyways, that person like did press about it. You know what I mean? Like they got interviewed on like RPG site and here and there, and like I got bills to pay. Like I'd love a little free press like that. That'd be great.
That
So
makes sense. That makes sense. That's scary, but it makes sense, bro. You could hit a lick off of that, dude.
I mean, like life is too short, honestly, for me to even really like. Don't get me wrong. I don't want the Doug Bowser treatment. Like I don't want to have to give Nintendo my paycheck until the day I die. But
oh
like,
damn, no.
you know what I'm saying? But as far as, like copyright infringement from the purposes of like unreleased assets and stuff, frankly, I myself would be curious how that case would play out,
How do they know it's actually their stuff? Like for real. Like if it's unreleased and not really documented, they can't even be like, yeah, this is our stuff and you released it, and now I'm
Well,
suing
it's
you.
like, would they argue that it's trade secrets? Like, there's a lot of wrinkles to that I find really fascinating. I've thought about this a lot over the years.
All right, clear the air for me and the people in the chat. You don't data mine out of hate for the specific companies. What is the reason that you data mine so people actually understand? Because I've seen some crazy stuff out there on Twitter. So,
I mean, sometimes I do. Like,
Mm.
it's a relationship. You know what I mean? Like, I exist in this space as any other creator does.
Mhm.
And I don't think I play by different rules. I think I just lose by the rules. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't, how do I explain it? Like, I'm human, and I remember in the Marvel's Avengers days, there was a period that I was like, I'm taking a break. Like I'm taking a big break. And that, oh boy, wow, I've never told this story. Yeah, it's like I'm taking a break.
Mhm.
And that was because I had spoken to somebody about like burying the hatchet, and let's try something different because this isn't working.
Okay.
And I was like, listen, like a complete blind show of faith. Like, I will just give you exactly what you want and then we'll talk again. Right. And I won't even say a damn thing until then. So I just gave them everything that they wanted. And I was like, yep, I'm done. Like, I'm not doing it. Da, da, da. And then it was like a month later or something. And I was like, hey, me again, just like checking in, wanted to see if, was that good? Like, is this, like what's going on here?
Uh-huh.
And like, holy fuck, they were playing games with me. Like, it was so insulting, like the way that they treated me
Oh.
after having done it was like, and don't get me wrong, like, I don't think I'm like owed this or anything. You know what I mean? Like I really do feel like I have a good head on my shoulders about it. I'm just some guy, but it was like, this is the only thing that I've ever accomplished. You know what I mean? Like, this is like, there's like a fucking Forbes article about me. You know what I mean? Like, my name isn't exactly in lights, but like, I was nobody and now I'm a little somebody.
Right.
Like, at least, and I believe me when I say that I asked for the smallest consideration. I was just like, just show me the tiniest modicum of respect to make me feel like it's worth burning down the only thing that I've ever accomplished. And they were like, go fuck yourself. So it was like, okay,
Okay.
got it. And then that's when I had already data mined like myself this upcoming patch, like this patch that had just come out. And that was the Iron Man Wizard suit, I think, was about to come out. And
Yeah.
so I was like, boom, tweet, boom, tweet, boom, tweet. Like, it just dumped all of them. And it was like, I'll go right back to it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so maybe it's wrong to say like I do it out of hate or something, but like I cannot do it out of love, if that makes
Right.
sense. But that
Right.
sounds like blackmail. I don't mean it like that. Oh God.
Nah. To me, it just sounds like you were doing it because it was, something that for you to do at the beginning. Then you had the conversation, and then you were like, okay, I'm gonna stop because y'all asked me to stop. Long as we still have a mutual respect and You know, like I'll come to you and be like, yo, I found this. Is it cool or whatever? But you wouldn't even, you left me on red. Okay, you leave me on red then. Now everybody gets to see everything that I got that I wasn't going to put out because you want to be an asshole. Let me show you who the bigger asshole is. And I respect that, bro. I respect it to the fullest. Like, you know what I mean? You're a human being.
I'm not
bro.
like I'm gonna watch out for myself first.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because nobody out there is your team captain. Like you got to be the captain of your own team. You cannot expect anybody to have your own, like to have your back before you do. So I'm not going to torch what, especially at the time, was like a really valuable income source for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, granted, it's not like from data mining. I was live stream. I wasn't even like silently data mining on stream. Like I was just, it was like a couple $100 a month. But like, man, that was like my groceries. You know what I mean? Like
that's some side
that
stuff,
was,
definitely.
sorry, that was a lot to me. Like I didn't have a fucking Patreon. I don't paywall anything. I give all that shit out for free. But while you're here, if you want to chill out with me, do other shit, let's do it. And you know what I mean? Like just that alone was important. That bit of attention from that was important. And it's less important now. I have a job. But at the time, yeah, that was, I don't know. It was, maybe that doesn't make me look the best, but it is what
I'm
it
not
is.
mad at it, dude. For real, I get it, man. I get it, and I honestly, it's almost inspiring because I avoid the situations like that purposely because I just don't want the issues to deal with. But fuck that going forward, bro. I'm burning this shit down. If you want to be disrespectful, let's burn it all down. Let's go. So now you're good with me. I'm
I
eye to
mean, like,
eye with you, bro. Like,
you know, I have like priorities and I can say, like, you know, watch out for yourself first. But at the end of the day, like, I think the thing that I've learned doing this for however long I have is I am like first and foremost on your team if you are on my team. You know what I mean? Like allegiance, like what's the word I'm looking for? My mind is like mob wives, you know, like where like you know, like allegiance, like my faith in other people. There's a word that I'm trying to find here that I can't find. But you know what I'm saying? Like
I got you.
if you're on my team, I'm on your team. That's number one to me. And so if you aren't, then I kind of don't care. You know what I mean? Like that's okay. Like I don't hate you or anything. Like I'll
But you're
keep it
not
moving. But
yeah, you're not a thought in my
you know,
process.
like they're like huge because of like really, if you meet like huge creators, right? Their asses get left on red. Like, don't get me wrong, people beat down their doors, but like there's the things that they want and they don't get them. You know what I mean? Like nobody is 100% happy in this industry. Everybody gets screwed around somehow. So I kind of I'm really used to taking it on the chin. You know what I mean? I'd rather prioritize the people who do notice me and do want to invest in me. You know what I mean? Then you will get it. That's great. And to everybody who can't, like, you know, whatever. Like here's an example. Like I got left on red for the fucking Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection code, right? And my numbers were like great at that point. I was getting sponsorship offers with like minimums. I mean, not minimums, like base pay. You know what I mean? Like I was getting decent offers. And so I was going like, oh hey, you know, like what's up? It's super professional, like just checking, like here's my, you know, da 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 da. And then like, hi, you know, like it's almost time for lunch, like just checking in, like da 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 da. And I did it like multiple ways, you know, like it was the direct DM and it's the application and it's this and that, right? And then it's like, oh hi, I noticed like everybody's getting their codes today. Just wanted to say like congrats on the launch, like da 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 da, right? But you play the game. And like it was a shit show. You know what I mean? Like it's not like everything went so great and it's like, bitch, we don't have room for Miller. Like go sit down. You know what I mean? Like, no, we're talking to the big boys over here. Like it was a shit show. And it's like, I can't, like, you can't care. You know what I mean? Like, you can't lose sleep over it because, like, you'll get slapped in the face so hard. There's just nothing you can do about it. Oh, well.
But that was a little bit of redemption for you, right? Just to see it all just crash like
I mean, I look though. I wasn't like gloating or anything. You know what I mean? Like I
no.
didn't get to play it. I heard it sucked, but like, oh well. Like it's just it's an example of like, like even when things are going really well, like it's not like every door is open. So don't
Really.
be afraid to close some.
Man, you're preaching to the choir right now, and I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, let's move on to the second set of questions. Got five more good questions for you, bro. This one is kind of easy, and if you want to elaborate, you can, as I always say. Do you have a good or at least moderate relationship with some of these devs that the games that you have been peeking into are affiliated with?
Yeah. There's a couple that I speak to privately that are like deathly afraid of speaking to me publicly because they don't want to. And I'm not like, it's not like a closeted relationship thing where it's like, oh, you're ashamed of me. Like, it's like, no, like they're really genuinely worried that like their former or in some cases current employer is going to either like fire them or come after them with like a lawsuit for like, breach of NDA and blah, 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 blah. Like they don't need that. And I don't expect them to need that. But there are even a couple that like public, and ironically, the ones that like speak to me publicly are usually the ones that are like no comment. You know what I mean? Like behind the scenes, they're like no comment because
Damn,
they're already too exposed. You know what I mean?
got you.
But
So
like,
they can't even, yeah.
but like, yeah, I've definitely, um, I don't know if I've made any good friends.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know if any of us have really gotten close, but I've certainly been able to shower with praise people that I really respect, whose work I enjoy a great deal, and
Mhm.
people who seem to enjoy my work and come to a mutual understanding, which is really the best you can hope for, And frankly, it's better than most creators get in this space. So I'm really really happy about that.
That's awesome, dude. That's actually awesome. Um,
Actually, it's funny. I've been thinking I'm like working on like my first big like YouTube series. And the concept of it is like things that I'm obsessed with. It's like my obsession with blank, my obsession with, and it's like one of them being like Marvel's Avengers, right?
mhm.
And the way that I would introduce that to a layman, like how I ended up here, somebody who isn't even really in like the gaming creator space, right? Is like what an honor it is for me as a fan of something to have a strong enough relationship or even just a strong enough understanding with the people who are actually making the shit that I like, that they would put themselves at risk to talk to me, you know what I mean? To give me an inside look at stuff that nobody ever gets. You know what I mean? Like it's such an honor and it's something that with their blessing, obviously, like I just for posterity and the record of pop culture, like have to speak about. There's a couple things that I'm very excited for people to see.
Nice. Well, that actually goes kind of on to my next question, which is it is not a rough question. It's just I personally want to know how do you decide on what game you're going to be actually digging into? And when I say digging into, I mean data mining. So let's get it popping.
I'll tell you, like it it should be like, oh, like what has the sort of least traffic around it in terms of like the least competition, but the most attention, like the most demand. But I'm not a I'm like I do this for fun, like first and foremost.
Mhm.
I if the day that I don't enjoy this will be the day that I close my account. Like truly, truly, truly. Like I'm never ever going to force myself to do this. And so it really just comes down to what do I enjoy. Like if I was super into Fortnite, I'd be data mining Fortnite. Like truly. And maybe I wouldn't because there's already like you kind of don't have to. Like
Right.
it's kind of covered, but like it's really just what has my attention. Like right now, perfect example, I'm looking at because I grew up with this series. I love this series so much. The new Inazuma 11 game, Victory Road.
Hmm.
I'm so excited for it. It's like a live service game in that space. Like there's room for a Miller in that community. And but it's like a very insular community and it's like
Right.
mostly European, a lot of French speakers, a lot of Spanish speakers. It's gonna be a real hard pivot for me doing like superhero stuff to this, but it's something that I'm extremely interested in, and that's really my only motivator.
Well, obviously, once you get into it, you're gonna do what you do well, man. It's not about being superhero or non-superhero as far as I'm concerned. I just know that you're going to do what you do and it's going to be damn entertaining, bro. So good
Well,
luck
like
on that, yo.
let me put it this way. Like I already have a job that I fucking hate. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like period. I'm not gonna get off the job that I hate to come home to data mine a game that I hate. Like doing like the last big well actually I'd say like when Suicide Squad launched, right? Like just going through that patch took me weeks. You know what I mean? Like it takes so much time and so much energy. If you don't love it, you better be making money. And I am not. So like it's just for fun. It's for passion. Or otherwise you would not know who Miller is. No, I would not be doing this.
Miller, it's about to get real.
Oh,
Let's discuss this She-Hulk debacle, bro. Back,
oh
yeah,
God.
yeah, let's do it. Let's just for real, just put it all out there. Back when Marvel's Avengers was still alive and kicking, and the communication was at an all-time low. I mean, like zero communication.
Well, it's
You,
even worse now, if you can believe that.
God damn. But wait, it's never mind. But it was bad for us communication, and I don't know if that was around the time where y'all were discussing whatever, but you came through and it was like, Jennifer Walters to She-Hulk, next thing on the board. Then months and months and months and months later, it wasn't there, and we got, I think it was it Lady Thor or something like that in instead
Yeah,
of
yeah.
yeah.
Well, it
So
would have, I mean, I guess I announced that before Spider-Man came out, I believe. So I think we still had Spider-Man to go through, but yeah, the next
yeah.
non-exclusive was Jane Foster.
Mm.
Damn stupid story too.
Yeah, yeah, made no sense. But let's talk about this debacle. Now, when you dropped that info, everybody, the entire community got hype, and we was ready for it. And then we had certain devs like, no, she was never on the list to ever come out. Now,
Well,
it
that
is
no, I don't think they ever said that because that's verifiably untrue.
I'm
Like, I
pretty
mean,
sure that was a dev that
they
said that.
no, they what? Okay, I can tell you what was said because
Please do.
this is
Yes.
ingrained in my mind. There was like, it was always just like a blanket, like that's not true
Okay.
from
Okay.
Nick Edwards. Was always like a blanket, that's not true, and it would be like Miller said this, that's not true. Miller said that, that's not true, and then there was one point where someone said like, okay, but like the more times you try and say like Miller's wrong and the more times Miller's right, it just like sort of hurts your own credibility. And it was funny because that was somebody who like I think literally had me blocked on Twitter, had blasted me so many times, but they were like, well, call a spade a spade. And he was like, oh really? So if Miller's always right, then I guess where's She-Hulk? Hmm?
That's what
And
it was. That's what I
yeah,
was talking about right there.
yeah,
That
there
line
was
right
that.
there.
And then there was Brian was interviewed by Paul Tassi around Winter Soldier's like announcement, I think, and he was like, "Oh, contrary to popular belief, contrary to what you may have heard, Bucky was always going to be next," which is 100% not true. And that's like
Mm,
not true 4 different ways too, which is really funny because back before the pivot, yes, Jen was next. She-Hulk was next.
hmm
Um, I like I am holding on to proof. Like, I've seen it with my own eyeballs. And then post pivot, Bucky was not next. Then there was like 2 different internal pivots where Bucky was not next. And then, but nothing ever really came of those. And then they decided, okay, Bucky's next. Like, Bucky had been next for like a couple months at that point. Like, after, like, and I had said that like a year and a half before. Like, it's like, that's really splitting hairs, dude.
Bro.
But honestly, though, like, really, pre-pivot, She-Hulk was next. Like, there's a plot outline that I have that, and it was before War for Wakanda came out, before they had made certain decisions about War for Wakanda. Like, for example, Shuri's coronation did not originally take place in War for Wakanda. It was originally during season 2, around like a corrupted vibranium thing. And so that was originally in season, I'm going to say colloquially season 2, like post War for Wakanda, like going into, I think it was like literally between She-Hulk and Winter Soldier at the time. But then they moved that forward and put that into War for Wakanda because they had to cut some of War for Wakanda, so it was kind of thin. And so they like needed to beef it up a little bit. Like, they were originally War for Wakanda had a lot of, it started with like you playing the Avengers team, and then over the course of development they came to the conclusion that it felt counterproductive. Like, it didn't feel like a celebration of Black Panther for you to be playing so much fucking Captain America and Miss Marvel.
Gotcha.
So they wanted to put more focus on T'Challa. So they cut a lot of the stuff that was very focused on Captain America, Iron Man, Miss Marvel, and Black Widow getting to Wakanda and like exploring and stuff. They like cut that stuff. But again, it was kind of thin, so they moved back the some of the corrupted vibranium stuff and Shuri's coronation. But anyways, so it's around before that decision was made. War for Wakanda, She-Hulk, Winter Soldier, Captain Marvel. Like, I've seen it in black and white. Now, what's funny, I have seen one thing to the contrary, which is there's a voiceover recording schedule that I have photographs of that shows that Winter Soldier's voice recording sessions, this is back in 2019, I believe, were done before She-Hulk's. That She-Hulk and Ultron were recording at the same time, and that the bulk of the Winter Soldier stuff had been done in the previous session. I want to say the She-Hulk and Ultron stuff was in August. But yeah, so that's the one thing that I've seen is that voiceover recording schedule. But that voiceover recording schedule doesn't even line up either, because it's got the Ultron with She-Hulk, and Ultron would have been at a different point. Like, it's a little mixed up. Yeah, I don't know. Also, too, what they were planning on doing with She-Hulk at that time, because I know they had plans for promotional materials involving She-Hulk and something about a campaign. Anyways, so I don't know. But that's the only thing I've seen, like a literal story outline that puts her before him. And I don't know why that took me 10 minutes to explain. But anyways, there you go.
You're fine. But it actually leads, I'm glad you took that 10 minutes, because it helps lead on to this next question, which is, how far along was Captain Marvel, as far as her production and like even voice acting and things like that, maybe character models? Was there?
Oh, well, I can tell you voice acting. Well, okay, I'll give you one piece of tea, one piping hot piece of tea that I've never put anywhere.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Clip.
Jennifer Hale was cast as Captain Marvel. She did not record. The sessions never happened, and they were schedule permitting, is what I've heard. But they had stuff written, And as far as I understand it, Jennifer Hale did not ultimately record anything for Captain Marvel. But yes, that was schedule permitting their Captain Marvel.
Wow. So perhaps that's probably why we never got anything on it, because it was still. Ugh, that's crazy. Thank you for that,
She
T-Boy.
played her in Midnight Suns around that period too, so she was very active as Captain Marvel at that point in history.
Shit. That would have been dope, bro. Damn it, I just made myself mad. Like, is there any games right now that you are looking forward to digging into as the final question for this segment?
Yeah, Inazuma 11 Victory Road for sure.
Mhm.
Oh, what else? I know there was something else that I'm like, oh, that looks. Oh, you know what? The new Dune game. Oh, that looks so good. Like Dune
Ooh.
Awakening, I think it's called. Oh my god, that looks really good. And I like a survival game. I'm really getting into survival games lately.
So Dune, huh? I gotta keep my eye out on Dune. Let's move on to this next thing. Yo, let's talk some Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. I don't have a lot of questions, but I think I have some important questions that you may be the only person that can answer, bro. And let's just keep it 100. Let's just start off with the bullshit right now. Can this season save this game?
I mean, the impression that I get is that it's gonna have to. Like, what I had heard pre-launch. Hold on, I'm grabbing a drink. One sec.
Do your thing, man. Do your thing.
Okay, what I had heard pre-launch was that the decision on whether, like, the decision on when to pull the plug, or at least whether to pull the plug early.
Mm-hmm.
God, where the hell is my fucking coaster? There we go. Excuse me. Okay. The decision on when to pull the plug or whether to pull the plug early was going to be made very early. They didn't want to be in a situation where, like, oh, season 4 rolls around and, they're doing pre-pro on season 7. Like, like because they're like, you gotta, like, not everybody can be working on the same thing at the same time. So inevitably, the pre-production, like, whoever can get their work done the first, I guess, depending on their pipeline, they're working on the 2 things ahead usually. So, or I guess in this case, like 3. Geez. Anyways, yeah. So I get the impression that it was going to be made very, very early. I anticipated that meant around launch, frankly. Um, I will say definitively, I have not heard if the game is dead. I just want to put that out there. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So don't think this is me saying yes or no, okay? Just laying that out there, plain English. But with that said, I find their behavior worrying. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it takes a fucking Miller to figure it out either. Like, the way that they are behaving in the public sphere does not instill confidence. And frankly, it's hard to say. What I will say, there is a former WB executive who was tweeting about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and he seemed to say that if there was any, if they had any understanding of even just the remote possibility that the game would sell as little as it had, they would have never greenlit it. And then he went on to say too, which I found very interesting, that but he's like trying to distance himself from that statement, but he's like, when I left WB, the IP wasn't even the IP wasn't even attached to Suicide Squad yet, which was really interesting because we knew they were working on an original IP. So all I could think was like, oh, they didn't kill the original IP. They just, like, dinosaur planeted it into Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, if anybody knows that Star Fox reference. Yeah, that was fascinating. But
Wow.
it to me at this point, I think what it comes down to is image. I think for a publisher that wants to invest in live services, who wants to be the live service guy, I think it instills very little confidence in your business to cut and run, not even a year in. You know what I mean? Especially for something that got that big of an advertising push and
Mm-hmm.
da, 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 da. But what I gotta tell you, if you're hoping it gets a No Man's Sky treatment, I would not hold my breath. I'm not holding mine.
Ooh.
Um, I think what I'm hoping for at this moment is dignity. I'm hoping we get through season 5, the end, credit roll, and then, nobody feels like they got screwed over. We got an ending because that's what they planned for. Was like, listen, if it's a total bomb, we get to season 5. That's the end of the Brainiac storyline. Like, we accomplished a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Goodbye. Like, no hard feelings. Now that contingency plan, I believe it has bottomed out. Like, they did not hit their like worst case scenario number. It seems like. So I think it is a genuine question whether or not we'll get to season 5. Whether or not that decision will be made, or has already been made, or will be made around season 1, I'll tell you, it won't be made around season 2. Like, I think that if the decision hasn't already been made, the decision will be made at season 1, in my opinion. Just based on a temperature check, talking to a couple people, and public statements of people in the know, that is how I would personally gauge it, which is depressing. It's funny too, because that was the number one reason that I didn't want to tease, like, oh, year 2 characters, like, this is who they have sort of like in the pipeline, and this is who's in the table. And I just got asked about that yesterday, I think, too, and I didn't have the heart to answer them because it was like, I don't think you're gonna see a damn one, frankly.
Damn.
Yeah.
That sucks, bro. But you know what? I'm glad that you answered that question the way you did, because you love to lead into the next question. And the next question is, what the fuck? Where the fuck did they go wrong, bro?
Here's what I've been thinking lately. I don't think people like narrative-driven live service games. I think I cracked the code. Like, I think if you take the average Destiny player and quiz them about the lore, they don't know a goddamn thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, half the Destiny players skip the cutscenes. Like, the Destiny 1 was notorious for all its lore being on the website. Like, and that's the closest we've got truly to a successful narrative-driven live service game. If you look at Avengers, if you look at Suicide Squad, the whole concept is like story, story, story. Story drives the updates. Even the cosmetics. Here's how they would fit in the story. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like, it's very narrative driven, and that's one of the things that I love about them. I love the narrative work in Avengers and Suicide Squad. So it's like, it's depressing for me to think that like that's like the candlestick in the library, you know what I mean, with Colonel Mustard. But like, really, I think that's it. I don't think people have, I mean, I don't want to sound like a Nintendo exec, but I don't think people have the attention span. Like, I don't think people care. I don't think enough people trust games. Like, I think people really only like games in retrospect. That's another thing too. You know what I mean? Like, everybody, like, it's the Pokemon cycle. Everybody hates the new Pokemon game. 20 years later, oh my God, they don't make them like that anymore. You know, it's like Star Wars movies. Like, everybody hated the prequels. Now they're gospel. Now, how dare you insult the prequels? You know what I mean? Like, it's, people like games in retrospect, and live service games, especially the narrative aspect of them, it's like a wound. Like, people have to poke it. People just have to poke it just to fucking feel something. And I I just don't see how that I don't see that business model working in the future. I just don't. Like if somebody plays a live service game, look at like the look at like Jay-Z at its peak or
Helldivers.
uh you know what I mean? Like even ones that have like narrative as like a backdrop, you're making your story. You know what I mean? Like that you're playing it. Like that's
Hmm.
sort of part of the draw for people. Even like a Fortnite or a PUBG, like the the narrative of it is how you play. And also that drives content, importantly. That drives user-driven content. The YouTube videos, the Twitch streams, like
Hmm.
nobody I mean, like, don't get me wrong, like, yeah, some streamers do it, but like I don't think it suits the medium particularly well to like sit down and watch a movie. You know what I mean? Because you're either talking over it, like you know what I mean? Like
You're trying to
narrative,
interact.
I think,
Yeah.
like RPGs have like never been the thing on Twitch. So it kneecaps content creation. I just think it's like and if you try and do both, which Suicide Squad did, I think they had a very valiant effort, but I think some would argue that it was then like the worst of both worlds. You know what I mean? That it doesn't do either great. And I mean, look at Avengers. Like Avengers was super lopsided. Avengers did the narrative well to the extent that people would say routinely, just buy it and pretend the multiplayer doesn't even exist. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And that was why they wanted, then they knew how important that multiplayer was to a live service game to the extent that from day one, they're like, listen, you can play the story or there's the Avengers initiative. Just jump in, fart around, forget the narrative is even there. Because they know you you're investing in a game for one reason and not two. And
I, who would have ever
I
thought that story narrative would be the downfall of story driven characters? That's crazy.
I mean it sucks. Like I mean when people talk about like, oh, what do we love about like these other like DC games or yeah, let's say DC for example, right?
Hmm.
The Lego games, they just want to be a fucking sandbox. They want to fart around. Oh, the Arkham games, they love the story, da 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 da, and they kind of like a lot of them like hate the gameplay. Like they're really not into the gameplay, or they're like, isn't it quaint? You know what I mean? Like it's like nostalgic, like how janky, like you know what I mean? They're not like in love with it. Like it's sort of like something they put up with.
Right.
Like I think doing both kneecaps it, and I hate that reality, but I think that's it.
Yeah, it would explain the success of Helldivers to a lot of people. Why
Yeah, like
Helldivers?
Helldivers, right? It has a backdrop narrative. Like, yes, there's stuff kind of going on, but it's like a fucking Cloverfield ARG. You know what I mean? It's like you don't even
Mhm.
have to pay attention to it really, and a lot of people don't.
They don't really. They just go in, shoot bugs, and get off. You know what I mean? And that's what they do. Like, it's crazy that you broke that down like that. And I'm glad you did because a lot of people would say it's the marketing or the lack of communications, and I'm like,
I mean,
I
it
don't.
is like death by a thousand cuts. Don't get me wrong. I don't
Mhm.
think it's impossible for a game to do both and succeed, but I think there's a reason that it's never happened. You know what I mean? Like Destiny is like again the closest I think anybody's ever gotten, and that game is notorious for having narrative on the website. Like like that's not the draw.
Hmm.
It really doesn't try to be the draw.
Nah,
And
it's
when it
exciting
most tried
gameplay.
to be the draw around like Destiny 2's launch is the worst it was ever doing. You know what I mean?
I do, and I'm just sad. Like I'm just really sad right now because I don't. Well, that again it leads into the next question. With the Joker, 171 plus bug fixes, new environments, new story dropping in about 4 days. Do you think this could be a soft reboot for the game? If they come back out shooting on all cylinders, everything actually works, and they get their communication on. Do you think this could be a soft reboot?
I mean, I think they'd love it to be. Um, I mean, I look at like Avengers found success in its later years. You know what I mean? Like it found a community. It was surviving. You know what I mean? And I think Suicide Squad could get there. I do. I don't know if WB is willing to go there. Like
Mm,
I, that's really all it comes down to.
that,
Um,
that makes all the sense in the world, man.
with that said, like I don't think here's the thing. Like people talk about like, oh, what if you like shuffle the characters around? What if you do this? What if you do that? Like it belies like a complete lack of understanding for like how long this shit takes to make, like how connected everything is in just such a way, like how much it takes to untangle that, how expensive that is, how in this case prohibitively expensive that is. Like I
Mm,
the Joker update, and I say that to in service of saying the Joker update wasn't designed to be that. You know what I mean? Like season 1 was never designed to be like, hold on now, like you know what I mean? Like whoa, 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 whoa. And
it was supposed to just continue the narrative. Gotcha.
but with that said, it's funny. I think QBK and like to me, QBK and a photo mode like would go such a long way for this game right now.
Right.
Like photo mode would like really buoy like the game on social media, and maybe not really, but it would to some extent buoy the game on social media. It would like a QBK. Oh my god, that would go so far for content creation because let me tell you, like once the Twitch drops campaign ended for Suicide Squad, those
Mhm.
numbers were like Avengers Year 3. Like, you know what I mean? Like we speed ran that like right there. And so it's like I don't know, the tools are there. Like we could do it, but it sucks because I feel like they have to have if QVK was coming on Thursday,
Mhm.
God, wouldn't they have announced it already?
You
Like
would
I'm,
think.
like, and I'll tell you, like under the hood, narratively, there is like a spot for it, and I've said that before. You probably heard me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there
Well,
are,
what are strongholds then? Have we figured that out?
and it's my understanding that strongholds are like on the. I will say that I don't know 100%, but it's my understanding that strongholds are in Metropolis. The I like I the icon for strongholds is like the spider tank boss. So I believe it's like sub boss fights centered around areas of Metropolis, presumably the ones that have been cut and pasted by Brainiac.
God.
That's my understanding. I could be a little wrong. I'm pretty sure that's it. Um, I don't like lose your shit over them or anything, but
Mm.
um,
This is really
yeah,
not looking good, bro.
like QBK would have been so good. Like there's like there are internally like if you think about like in the Avengers campaign, here's a good example, right? There are like different moments in the story where like the Quinjet or the helicarrier like changes its state, right? So it's like, oh, now there's more shield agents and this room is open and all the NPCs are saying different things now to sort of like reflect where the narrative is, right? There are like different moments like that in the campaign where the helicarrier sort of like refreshes to like the next state, right? So there are states like that on a smaller scale in Suicide Squad with different narrative what's the word I'm looking different like extraneous narrative elements tied to them. So for example, NPCs around the Hall of Justice, right? All their like library of things that they can say will refresh to reflect what has happened in the story, right? So like say like you go and get Joker, they'll be like, oh wow, you got that clown now, like right, like that kind of thing, right? Like that those little refreshes. One of them in season one, in episode one, in fact, is you have just gone to Brainiac's boss arena, I think, and fought a multiversal task force X. So there's like NPC conversations where like let's say Rick Flag is like, wow, you got to beat your own ass. That's crazy. Like da da da. Like, you know what I mean? And that,
Holy
I
shit.
believe, is like a first run of QVK. Is the game saying to you like, oh, here's this new mode, QVK, go do it. Here's how it works. Da da da. And it like sort of takes place in the narrative because these things are so obsessed with story. And then you
Oh,
go
so
back
they
to the Hall of
basically
Justice and
like,
everybody, oh, you got to do that. Because that's what QVK is it's like different task force X's from across the multiverse, like 4 of them,
mhm.
in like a free for all. And that's the whole idea behind it. Is like 4 teams of 4 and they duke it out. That's the concept.
Winner take
And
all.
so yeah, it's like that, it's literally doing that. Like that's what happens in the story. So unless they completely cut that and like delayed it, moved it, so I don't know, then I
Hmm.
guess, you know what I'm saying? Like that was what really made me so confident that it was coming in episode
Episode
1, because
word.
there's like a clear spot for it in the narrative. And I got to tell you, if QVK is not in episode 1, then you probably won't see that at all, because like I don't think that they would just like have like little AI controlled single task force X boom 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 and like that's a narrative beat. Like I'm pretty sure that's a first run of QVK.
Hmm.
And yeah, if indeed QVK has been delayed out of episode 1, that sucks, because god, it to me, we're talking about a soft reboot, like that could go a long way to showing people the potential of this sandbox, which is something that they've invested so much in, is this big Metropolis sandbox and all these tools and oh, the gun system and da 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 da, and put it all in motion. QVK 4v4v4v4, like whoa, duke it out, whoa, Brainiac, whoa, like it's so much of what they've built up, like the results of that not having that is like a question without an answer. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's, to me, like it's a pretty integral piece of this formula. And yeah, not having that sucks. And photo mode.
Bro, quick question for you, and this is a wild one, but I kind of want your opinion on it. Do you think that the people who got the premium deluxe version, the $100 version of the game, that couldn't play the game until, well, 2 days from now, who still shit out of luck, you think there will be any kind of repri- replications for that? Reciprocations. Maybe some kind of, I don't know.
Compensation?
Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Compensation. I didn't write it down, and I should have. But any kind of compensation, any kind of goodwill from WB/Rocksteady to those players, because some of those players have
Well,
not been able to play for a month, bro.
well, it's hard because how do you prove that somebody was in that state? And if you give it to everybody, then it's not really a gift for them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what you can do. Like, I
What?
think
Okay, go ahead.
even if you were to say like, okay, it's fixed now, we went through all the support tickets and everyone who had that issue, we're giving you $10 of store credit, or I don't know, like, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then everybody's pissed off because, well, I had that issue, but I didn't take it to the support. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see a scenario where they can isolate everybody that had that issue for the purposes of like compensating them in some way. I don't see how they can even do that in a way that's like truly fair for those people.
Huh.
And that sucks. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I'm
because
not
I'm
like,
shit out of
hooray,
luck
like
right
that.
now.
I mean, I don't know how they could even go about doing that.
You're
I
right,
think it would
because
be
the
lovely if they could.
ticket holders aren't everybody with the bugs. So you're right. Like how could they? That just sucks them, because I feel shit out of luck at this point, because I have not been able to play the game, and I had the early access, but I got my
Well,
bug literally on day one. So
it here's the thing. I'm like, it does seem like it's like some account state thing,
mhm.
because I know like they've people have been able to fix that through conversations with support, and
Right.
support like
It's one by
manually goes in and edits their
yeah.
account some way, right?
Jay Shock Blast had that issue, and they literally manually went in and fixed it for him. So,
Oh, well, then maybe they can find out everybody who had that issue. In that case, I mean, I don't, but then
yeah,
I feel like if they could, then couldn't they have just manually fixed it for everyone? Like, wouldn't that be the first step?
that's what you would think, right?
I don't know. It's hard to say.
Hmm.
I'm honestly not sure the scope of the issue. I'm not sure the cause of the issue. It's not my wheelhouse, unfortunately. But unless
Yeah.
they can unless they can 100% definitively isolate every single person who had that issue, then I don't know how they could fairly compensate everyone. Like when the login issues were happening, like when the server went down at the beginning of early access, right? What they did was, well, we can obviously see everybody who's had this issue because it's everybody who's signed in before this day. You know what I mean? Like, ta-da! Like, boom, give them all something. Which is why it wasn't just like, hey, everybody in early access. It was because like PC players didn't get it because the game wasn't out on PC um, when the servers were down. The servers were already back up when the game had come out on PC. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So in that case, it was easy enough for them to know definitively who had encountered that issue so that they could compensate everyone.
No, that makes
Um,
sense. That makes sense.
It's a challenge. I mean, wouldn't that be nice if they knew and they could compensate everybody? But I mean, I feel like to a lot of people, like I think the bridge is burnt. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
I don't like. It's like, oh, here's $100 of shop credit. Like I think a lot of people would be like, yeah, but I don't want to play the game. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't help me. Like
I
really,
know.
like I'm not saying that to be a downer. Like I feel like for some of the people that have had that issue, like the ship has sailed. But in that case, I would like. I mean, I don't know.
No, it makes sense,
Digital fucking purchases suck, eh?
dude. They do. Trust me, and I know better. I'm not doing it again. Between this game and Avengers, I'm done, bro. They can keep it. I'll play the game after everybody else has played it and says
I
it's
mean,
good or bad.
look at Helldivers right now. Helldivers is a fucking disaster. Like this week, like I've seen more influencers bitching about that game this week than I think they did at launch
Uh-oh, what's
with
happening
like
over there?
crashes and all kinds of stuff.
Oh.
I'm not saying they're in any way comparable. Again, I don't even know the scope of the issue, but like, I mean, there's not like a refuge from this other than Nintendo. Just saying.
Miller, let's move on to this final segment. And just Hyrule kind of messed up the fire or trash for everybody, so I have to give disclaimers now and explanations. I'm gonna play a quick 5-question game called Cap or No Cap. Now, for those in the crowd and familiar, if you don't know, cap means false. It's not true. It's a lie. It's not real. No cap means it's the truth. It's fact. It's not fiction. So what I'm going to do is ask you a question. You can say cap or no cap. And if you feel like it, you can give an explanation to why it's either cap or no cap, or we can just move on to the next question. You ready to
Got
play,
it.
sir?
Oh, I'm ready.
Cap or no cap? You hate on other data miners.
No cap.
What?
I mean, okay. Wait.
No
Oh. Okay, wait. Cap.
Okay. That's what I was thought. I was like, wait, what? Please explain.
Got it. Yeah, the other one. Yeah.
Got you. No cap. So you can't explain.
I'm like,
further?
I honestly, I never really got, because I was the only real guy in like Avengers and stuff, right?
Mhm.
I've made friends in the Suicide Squad community, you know, like I'm not like, get out of my turf. Like, I don't care, truly. Frankly, if they're doing it, I could take a day off.
I feel it. All right, cap or no cap? you get all of your information from secondhand sources.
No cap. Like data mining is a first-hand source. I'm holding it. I usually hear the opposite. I usually hear like Miller has no secondhand sources, which is really weird.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, cap, I believe that's the one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. Okay. Cap or no cap? Avengers devs spoon-fed you all kinds of leaks and information.
I mean, like a little bit of both. Like, I mean, not all kinds, that's for sure. But like, I've had a couple of very illuminating conversations. I mean, if you remember when Jane Foster was a thing, right? I heard it from one source. I fished all around, got all kinds of different stories from a bunch of different people, some leading me on, some being very upfront, and I had to kind of parse what the truth was, and I was 100% correct that it was Jane Foster. But I mean, I didn't just have like multiple people handing me like assets and all kinds of stuff. Oh no.
Thank you for clearing the air. Cap or no cap? There was never a Kree invasion planned for Marvel's Avengers.
Cap. I mean, right? Yeah, because that's fake. Cap. Incorrect. Cap. Right?
Yeah, you're right. You saying it? Yeah, you saying it. So you're basically saying that there was a Kree invasion plan for Marvel's Avengers.
Oh yeah, I know details.
Oh, was it
yes. Yes.
See, let's get some.
Oh no! Like what I love so much about their ideas for the Kree invasion were that it had never really played out in Marvel before. Like you had never really gotten to see what that looked like. Like there had been like, oh, like, you know, the Kree is doing this with the Inhumans and all to prepare for the you know what I mean? And it really never gets to play out.
And it always gets stopped, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and so you get to see what it actually looks like, and it's really fucking like there's like an element of like little green men lore in there. Like there's like, you know, like the like alien conspiracy theories and like, you know, the abduction kind of thing. Like there's that element to it with like the narrative they were building where like so basically there's like a mass Terrigenesis event. And so I mean, which you have seen play out before in Marvel fiction, but the awakened Inhumans start getting abducted by the Kree, and like literally like flying saucer ripped into the sky kind of vibe, right? And so it's like all the conspiracy theories are going crazy about it. Like it was really interesting some of the ideas that they had.
Marvel's story was definitely fire until he just kept doing Monica Rappaccini over and over, like that.
Well, she was. I mean, the Monica story wasn't honestly bad. The problem was that they were in slow motion. Like if you look at Suicide Squad, right? Like boom, an episode every 6 weeks. Like by that metric, by the end of year 1, Monica's dead. Right. You know what I mean? Like, but everything was so delayed and so pushed back, and it just took forever to get through a story that wasn't written to last that long. If they had conceived these updates with the idea that they would last 4 months, like they never would have prioritized Monica in that way. Like it's you know what I mean? It was an unfortunate situation. Yeah, Monica would not have made it out of the Kree invasion.
That would have been actually cool. Actually, we kind of got a little bit of the Kree invasion when we went to when we went to the future and met Old Man Hawkeye and everybody was frozen and they were fighting the Kree. That's the closest we ever gonna get to the invasion, right?
Well, we got pretty close. Like one of the like the mission where you like rescue Winter Soldier was like basically a prototype that was just sort of zhuzhed up. Like it wasn't done, but there was a huge section of it, and I've already spoken about this before on the record, but there was a huge section of it that was cut out where there's this big story revelation that Monica is working with the Kree and that they're like funneling her Terrigen, and then like the Inhumans get involved, like the moon, the blue moon area, and it ends up being I think like I don't know, I think there was like a whole Maximus storyline in there too, but basically yeah, Monica's end game was to like, seeing how it messed up the first time, to uh um, collaborate with the Kree and then betray them with the Cosmic Cube. But then the Cosmic Cube goes berserk and gains sentience and is a whole thing.
Oh, they were going that storyline. Oh, that's kind
Yeah,
of
the Cosmic Cube would have ended up becoming cubic, apparently. But that would have been like, I believe that would have been after, like way post Kree invasion. That would have been like a little tease, probably at the post credits of the Kree invasion, if I had to guess. Yeah, basically like the Ultron influence and Monica's influence corrupts the Cosmic Cube, and then it going berserk, I think, is what sort of like stops the Kree invasion. And then I think the Kree high intelligence, like, or whatever it's called, like, is like, whoa, hold up, and like
Really?
takes the Cosmic Cube out to like there's like a character that's supposed to nurture it, and then it ends up like evolving into cubic off screen. And then I think eventually you would have seen like grown up cubic in like the next cosmic storyline they were going to do. That was one of the ideas floating around.
That's great. That shit just sounds fun, man. It just sounds
it is a
fun.
cool idea, honestly, but again, like it was none of those plot points were ever supposed to last as long as they did. So people were getting sick of things that, were never designed to be stuck in their face for so long. Like, it's just an unfortunate situation all around, which is why I was so nervous about like the potential for delays and stuff with this game, because it's like, oh god, here we go again. Like, just kill it, don't even delay it. Like, put it out of its misery. Like, I can't handle the delays. It just ruins the discourse.
It really does, and it's for content creators. It's really bad because it leaves us nothing, and we're supposed to be hyping the game up and yada yada yada. So, no, I get it. I get it. Final question, and don't hate me for this question, Miller. Please do not hate me for this question.
Oh, I won't.
Good. Cap or no cap? You're related to Aiden Ross.
Oh my god.
Don't hate me, please. Don't hate me, bro.
Please respect mine and my family's privacy at this time.
Got you. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be.
Listen, if you were related to him, you wouldn't admit it either. I'm just saying. Hey, you saw that video.
Nah, I mean, I actually know what's popping. I figured it would be a nice ender to this. I kind of figured that's where it would go with the answer. That's kind of why I waited till that final question for it. And I definitely,
I will say, like, if that story interests you, if like what I shared that day interests you, that's something that I want to talk about again. I think there's some things that people would find very interesting about that. Yeah,
we're gonna leave it at that, though. Let's
teasing family drama or something, but yeah,
no.
There's a story to tell. Oh, believe me, you.
Well, you know what? You say that for one of them good articles, or when you have your YouTube thing popping and you got it going, and you where you want to be with it. Spill that tea, then we'll save that for that time, my dude. Get the money off of that tea, bro.
Well, I'll tell you, you might have seen the last of Miller's articles for a while.
Oh no!
Yeah, I think that well, not because of anybody else's choice, because of mine, for the record.
Gotcha.
But I think the YouTube, I think YouTube is in the future for me for that type of content. Informative video content, I think, is the next step.
I'm with it, man.
I've talked about it on your shows so many times over the last 2 years about stay tuned to my YouTube. I'm going to do YouTube. But I always end up defaulting to writing because I really enjoy writing, right? And I never fell in love with like a YouTube format before, but I've put so much work in lately. I really think I found something special, and I'm really displeased with the direction that certain outlets have gone in the last few months. And I just feel like independence is probably a little safer for me.
I feel
Yeah,
it.
I'll leave it at that.
No, I feel it. You're not trying to get caught in somebody else's crumbling building, bro. I respect
You know,
it.
like believe me, I burn enough bridges on my own. I don't need anybody else's. Like,
Is there anybody with a question for the man Miller before we let him go enjoy the rest of his Sunday evening? Dude, it's been a pleasure. It was cool getting some of these answers out of you that I personally didn't know which way you were gonna swing on the question. Like, it's especially like
you don't know which way I swing.
I know I said on
Hold
the
on.
question. I know which way you
Please.
swing on.
Okay,
They got nothing to do with my.
That's a good question in the chat. Hey Miller, what's your favorite crime? Larceny.
Oh my God. Hey Vashanti, why are you so crazy? Larceny. Why
Or
larceny,
vandalism.
bro? Why larceny? Miller, you should play Fortnite.
I play a little Fortnite. It's fun as hell. In fact, I'm so excited for first person mode going into like what is that, like creator mode or whatever. I'm so excited for that. Because like I've been messing around with Unreal Engine VR injector, and you can't really do it with Fortnite like online, but with like Fortnite private servers and like offline experiences, first person VR Fortnite is fun as hell. Like I'm so excited for that.
VR Fortnite. Damn.
Okay. Oh yes.
What's your favorite kind? Cap or no cap from Toledo, please. He says, do you think a Superman game can work?
I think it can work more and more as the years go on. I think the tech is very much catching up to what a Superman game needs to work. I think, frankly, when you talk about like, can a Superman game work? Like, can a Superman movie work? Like, I think Superman in different mediums has had problems. I think a lot of people have struggled with how to tell a Superman story. I think you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I would have loved to see more people get the opportunity to make a Superman game. I'm sure there's a great pitch out there, or 20, but because you look at Superman in film and television, there's some stinkers and there's some big hits.
Superman and Lois is a big hit, so yeah.
I'm hopeful for whatever the next attempt is, and I think it's kind of overdue, frankly, right?
We need that. I mean, the last Superman game we had was when Brandon Roth was Superman, so. And that game was actually pretty good.
if I think of like a Superman game, what a Superman game would have looked like a couple gens ago, I think of like that Fantastic Four game on the PS1, where it's like, oh, we're just not there. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we're just not there yet. Like, I don't think that's the right, like, the tech just ain't there. Like, we used to always talk about Avengers, like, oh, do you think you could put a speedster in the game? It's like, not really, like, no. And Superman is a speedster in a sense. Like, there's a lot of pieces in motion that I just don't think have been there and are maybe finally there, but I mean, we've had Superman games, we've never had a Wonder Woman game. Like there's some boxes getting checked off right now as we speak. I'm sure there's something Superman on the horizon, I'm sure.
When will there be the next Miller stream?
Definitely Tuesday. I think I'm gonna do like a silent data mining stream, those I only did a couple of those back in the Avengers days, and I think it's time to do another one. So yeah, expect one when the patch drops.
I'm excited, sir. I'm excited. Well, Miller,
I wish I could do one tomorrow night, but I work, so
real life is more important than streaming anyway, bro. So you're good. You're good, man. I personally appreciate you coming through, being as real as possible, answering the tough questions, answering the not so tough questions as well. Bro, tell people where they can find you at. If they don't know, like I said, if they live under a rock or something, just let them know where they can find you at, bro.
You can just Google me, Miller Ross. My Twitter is like twitter.com/Miller with 8 M's. Yeah, just Google me is probably the easiest way to do it. Google knows who I am. Yeah, or but stick to page 1. Stick to page 1. Don't go to page 2. It's all lies. It's all lies. It's all fake news.
Fake news.
Don't believe a word.
Yo,
but
we got
page 1 where it's just like profiles of mine. Yes, that is correct.
Page 2 Miller stream incoming, y'all. Let's get it popping. Let's go. We're gonna get it back. Nah, thank you for coming on No Cap Conversations. Chat, thank you guys for tuning in and listening to us ramble and chat for an hour and a half now. Big ups. Thank you, Miller, man. I didn't expect it to
I know.
Thank you, though. Again, thank you, Chad. Thank you, Miller. You guys enjoy the night. I'm about to go eat some food, and hopefully you guys stay blessed. With all that said, laissez les bon temps rouler, which means let the good times roll. Peace out, people.
What's poppin', people? It's your girl Spring. Sit back and relax. You are now rocking with the best. Welcome to Excelsior Now podcast, where we take your favorite guests